Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Avery's Adventures. So, in this episode, again, we're not going anywhere, and again, I'm wearing flannel. The birds are talking to us today, and what they're really saying is, fix this thing, it's leaking too much oil. So, this is my 93 Dodge W250. It's nicknamed Cherry Blue, because there's nothing right on this truck, and it's about as right as blue cherries. That's just how the saying goes. I came up with it one day with my buddy because I got this truck. I drove it back from Utah, and I'm in South Carolina. It's about a 2,300 mile journey. On the way back, my front left wheel broke off. I had to replace all 8 wheel studs. I ran out of fuel twice because the fuel pickup was clogged. And when I got home, it turned out the back of the cab had been split open like a can opener, and it just separated. And so I think after only a couple months of owning this truck, I took the bed off and had to reskin the whole back of the cab. I bought this truck with, I think, 330,000 miles on it with the original 5.9 12 valve Cummins in it. It had been NV4500 swapped, still factory MP205, but the entire body on the truck has pretty much been replaced. Fenders, front, everything. The grill I think is original. The cab and the doors are original, but the bed and possibly the frame are even replaced. I think the truck probably got in an accident sometime early in its life, and somebody said, I'm not letting go of it. This is a new truck. And they completely rebuilt the thing with aftermarket parts and parts from a gas job. So, that's the story on the truck before I got it. Once I got a hold of her, things got a little different. Having 330,000 miles on her, she had been sitting in Salt Lake City for about 5 years. A guy named Tyson that I had met out there had it for about 5 to 7 years, something like that, and he never drove the thing. He bought it, had it brought to his house, and it sat there for the entire time. And it had the same tank of fuel from when he bought it when I bought it. So I got it. I flew out to Salt Lake City, bought a one-way plane ticket, flew out there, paid him $7,000 for this truck plus that mint blue bed over there, and I just got in it and drove it all the way home. The injection pump tried to die on me, but I put some fresh diesel in it and some injector cleaner, and she cleaned up. After that, she drove home just fine, except for this wheel breaking off because I don't know what somebody was thinking. They must have just put whatever wheel they had on before on just to make it happen. But it was a different wheel and tire setup than all the other wheel and tires on the truck, and it caused the wheel and tire to hit this drag link here when you started turning, and it eventually stretched the wheel studs and broke the wheel studs, and they all fell off in Tennessee. And I got lucky. I stopped at a Pilot, and there were 2 left, and I was able to get parts brought to me and swapped everything out. Dana 60s are my bread and butter, so that was easy enough, an hour and a half fix. Got that taken care of, came back home, drove it for a couple weeks, and the injection pump started leaking. I threw an O-ring in it. Well, apparently that was the wrong O-ring. It did not hold up, and so I left one day to drive to Massachusetts to go see my buddies, and I made it to Washington, D.C., and the injection pump absolutely gave out on me. The truck would not hold throttle. You'd be going down the interstate, having your foot in the throttle, and all of a sudden it'd just pull out. And you'd have to push back in it, and you'd have about 5 seconds of throttle, and it'd pull out. And so I put a used injection pump on it, and that one started leaking too. So after I made it all the way back home after getting that used injection pump on, I came back home. I found another injection pump, and I put it on it, and I was an idiot. I had it 180 degrees at a time, and I could not figure out why. I spent many days, nights, weeks, months trying to figure out why she would not run. And eventually I gave up on it because I didn't have the help that I really needed to get her back in time. And sometimes you just need that one person to say, hey, this is what you need to do. And so I built a whole new motor for the thing. This is not a 5.9 liter. This is the original 5.9 liter with 330,000 miles on it that actually does run properly. This engine sitting in the truck is a 6.7 liter bottom end out of a 2018 3500 that had 88,000 miles on it with a 12 valve cylinder head and a VE injection pump. Yes, you heard that right. 6.7 liter bottom end. So the biggest difference is between this engine and that engine. Well, it seems I left a screwdriver on my exhaust manifold. Well, we're gonna deal with that later. The biggest difference between the 6.7 liter and the 5.9, obviously, besides the cylinder displacement or the engine displacement, is the fact that this is a 12 valve cylinder head design. So there's 2 valves per cylinder. Well, on every 5.9 and 6.7 Cummins past 98 and a half, that's widely argued, is a 4 valve per cylinder design, 24 valve. And these injectors on a 12 valve come in at an angle like this, and the injectors on a 24 valve cylinder head come in straight on top. And so I've drawn up this diagram to show y'all to help represent what the problem is in my engine design. So here we have a 12 valve setup, and here we have a 24 valve setup. Here's the cylinder bowl, piston bowl, and it's offset, and the injector's coming in this way. And here we have the injector coming straight down, piston bowl, 2 valves on each side, 1 valve on this side. So 2 valves, 4 valves. So this is not compatible with this, and I have this and this, and so everybody tells me that these pistons are not made for that, and it's not gonna work, and these pistons are gonna break, and my cylinder walls are gonna wash away, and I'm gonna have problems way down the road. But I've got 30,000 miles on this engine, and it runs very strong. She dynoed at 362 horsepower and 694 foot-pounds of torque with a rag stuffed in the intake. So what we're gonna do this episode is rip everything out of here to try and look at my cylinders to figure out if I'm actually destroying this block. So let's get to it. First thing is, we're gonna drain this radiator. We're actually gonna go put the coolant in the mercury over there. So it's about to drop down to about 20 degrees here in a couple of days. I wanna make sure that any water that is left in that car does not freeze and break that block, because it needs to come out and get fixed. So, like I said, we're gonna drain this, remove the radiator, remove the whole front clip. Well, not the fenders, just the grill. That way we can easily get in here and get the cylinder head off. I also have to take the timing case off and the camshaft, because I did not install a gasket between the timing case and the engine, or put RTV in between it, and it gets really, really wet down there, and it does this. This is 2 days of being parked here, and I'm tired of it. So let's get to it. Ain't nothing to do but to do it. First things first, my driveway's on an incline, so I got the jack up under here. I'm gonna open the pitcock for the radiator. I'm gonna try and catch as much of this as possible. Coolant costs money, so try and save on it. How do you open this thing? God, that's tight. Gonna need some pliers. Well, that wasn't hard once I got some channel locks on it. I just drove the truck, so hopefully it's not super hot. And Dodge designed this Great. So it just squirts out straight onto the frame rail. Genius. We'll pop the cap off. That's actually working pretty good. Yeah, we'll have to strain that. You can see I already got some oil dripped on it. So we'll let this drain and we'll pull the radiator out. We've got a bolt bin. So one of the biggest things for me is just keeping track of all these bolts half the time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Zip ties can be very easy to break, especially after they've been under a bunch of heat. Just like that. Now this whole radiator is free. It's just taking the upper and lower hoses off and she'll come right out. So far the plan is I would like to get everything most of the way out of here and then get it cleaned up. Take the power wash the bottom. I put zip ties in on the bottom. It's not pretty down there. I gotta go down there and cut those. Alright, let's deal with that. And away she goes. You like my massive intercooler? That's big. Take my battery out of there first. Go ahead and do that. So dang slippery in here. Set it on some sticks. Now this is really the truck that started the channel. I should have started the channel earlier, but she gave me so many fits, so many problems, but it was so much fun. I have so much oil all over that entire right fender, left fender of the truck. And this ain't much because I've been trying to keep my hands out of it. The entire bottom of the battery tray, it looks like it's been soaked in PB Blaster because that's diesel. PB Blaster isn't diesel, but that is diesel. Well, the radiator's ready to come out. Let's see if we can get this out without getting a bunch of more coolant everywhere. I actually installed this radiator in episode 1 in Massachusetts after my engine mount came off and my fan ate the radiator. If you haven't seen that episode, go back, check it out. It should be episode number 1. After that, I had to drive 1,000 miles home. Well, now that I got this thing out full of Mountain Dew, this is a nuisance. Have you ever wondered why it's macaroni and cheese? Why not rigatoni and cheese? Or fettuccine and cheese? Or those twisty bow tie noodles and cheese? I don't know. I don't even know who Mac is. Alright, well, radiator's empty. Now, biggest plan, oh, that comes out nicely, that I really had for today was I wanted to get all the coolant out of the engine, or at least get it the cooling system open so it'll start to dry out, so that when I pop the cylinder head off, I don't have a bunch of coolant flush into the cylinders. Believe it or not, these injectors should actually leave a spray pattern on the top of the piston. They'll show where the diesel is being sprayed, where it's igniting, and it'll show hot spots. And that's really what we're after. The technical stuff. I know a little bit about it, okay? So, I think we're going to take the fan off, and we're actually going to start it. I'm going to let the engine get warm, because it shouldn't overheat with no coolant. Shouldn't. These 12 valves are great. There we go. Well, that's kind of nasty looking. So, this truck has the power steering and the vacuum pump are all gear driven off of the timing gears, because there's no timing chain in here. It's all gear driven. And then the belt drives the water pump, alternator, AC compressor, and the fan. So, just like any engine, we'll be fine to start because we'll still build oil pressure. There's just no coolant in it. So, it would help if my battery was still in it though. That would really help. New plan. So, since I already moved my battery tray bolts and I don't really want to bend all that up and put it back together at the moment because it's all slimy, I'm just gonna, when I pull this front core support off, I'll take my shop vac and I'll hook it up to this bottom radiator hose and just go ahead all the fluid out of the engine block. And since it's now open, it should start to dry out as well. So we're gonna go ahead and keep zipping things apart. I don't know what's next. Just follow along. Well, it seems I may have messed up whenever I put in my 7.3 in our cooler swap. This is my AC condenser thingy. It goes behind the intercooler. I never clearanced for it to make room right here in the course support. And so you pull this bolt out and this block separates and the back half comes out in the back with the hoses, but as you can see, it's not coming out. So I was hoping to pull the core support with the radiator, or not with the radiator, with the intercooler and the evaporator still in it. It's not gonna happen, so I'm gonna pull all this menagerie off, and then we'll see about trimming this up a little bit and getting that in there so that it actually fits right and I can actually disconnect this and the way it's supposed to be. I had to move a little bit of things around in order to fit something this big in here. All right, it doesn't just fit. Wish it did. It would have been easier. It wasn't that hard to start with, but all right, back to it. In case you'll ever wonder, they don't have a smaller impact. And they do not have a ratchet driver. To me, this is the perfect size. If it don't fit, then a wrench is fine. Not even attached on the other end. Ah, where'd you go? Thank you. Can I get enough to? No. The answer is no. I'm just gonna yank a little harder. That's the right way to do it. If you have a first gen and you want to install a 7.3 intercooler like I did, I believe that I followed Oven's Garage on YouTube. Go check out his 7.3 intercooler first gen install video, and by far it is one of the easiest, well done ways to install a 7.3 intercooler into a first gen. In fact, all I did was trim here, move the condenser. I need to trim a little bit here so it'll fit better. And then re-drill some holes and some mounting points. And I used these bushings and just trimmed a little off that, drilled some holes, added some bolts. It's perfect. I'll show you whenever I go to zip this thing back together. But now I got rubber donuts. I know you're a 1/2 inch, but I'm using 13. Good enough? No one told me. And there was no Freon in my truck. It was charged when I got it. I'll tell you that. Air conditioning didn't work. But it was charged. How did I get these bolts on here so tight? I'm gonna need somebody to reach out to Theory of a Dead Man and remake that song The Bee Came Back to The Bird Came Back, because it's back. 4th day. She's out. Well, this is the engine side intercooler tube. And I'll say, I don't know if you guys can really see down in there, but nope, it's dark. It's just dark. There's not any oil or debris down in here. Woo. Sounds cool. Oh, you've actually got a... Yeah. This is actually perfectly clean inside. That is amazing. I'm glad my brand new turbo's not leaking any oil. At least I know it's not a problem. Give it to me. All right. Real thick. Ugh. I love that. Let me tell you. Yeah, we can power wash that. So I've gotten a good bit of the front torn down, but get you in here and you can see oil leaks, oil leaks, oil leaks, oil leaks and crud. All crud and nastiness. Hey, peanut butter. Watch out, buddy. Let me make you a pathway. Oh, Peanut. How you doing, buddy? Having a good day? A dog's life? All right. I'm sorry, buddy. You gotta get out of here. You can't get dirty. Go on, buddy. Thank you. You stay off of that. Go. Go, get off the alternator. Get off the alternator. That's the dirty thing. Go, Peanut, go. Go. Thanks, sir. Go get that bird. All right, so I was saying, pretty nasty in here. So I'm gonna come back in here with some degreaser, spray all this down, and I think we're gonna go ahead and after it's soaked in a little bit, pressure wash this. I think I'm gonna pull this crank sensor off first. That turns my alternator on. So, and then that way we can get this all nice and cleaned up, kinda. So, I'll put a rag in there, put a rag in there, and we'll hit it good. Went ahead and got the fenders over the core support, and boom, out it comes. I'm gonna wanna spray this down too. I don't wanna knock you guys out. Spray the back. bulk of it down, so to say. All right, we got it fully exposed. Got her clogged up tighter than a residential bathroom on a construction site. So she's ready for the hose. So I gotta get the crew cab set up for me to drive so I can go get the shop vac. It's over at a friend's house. And then we'll blast this thing. Blasting! Well, before I started blasting, I decided to get my paint scraper out and come in here and start scraping so I'm not spraying this crud all over me. And yeah, it's just from here to there. I don't even know. Is it rust? No, it's not rust. Is it grease? No. I don't know if it's burnt belt and oil. I don't know, but it is nasty. I'm gonna scrape all this out here before I even start blasting, because I don't want this on moi. That would be, ew. It doesn't come off. The big round thing is actually glue that holds the hood skins together. Somehow it found its way down to the front cross member. And you can just see how nasty. Like, what? How many years? What swamp did they take this truck through? Because I haven't. Alright, well, I'm gonna get this cleaned up and I'll show y'all whenever I get all this scraped off. So I thought about it before I even start power washing this thing. I was like, you know what? Why don't I just go ahead and scrape as much of the stuff off as I can. So I put some paper towels down on the ground, and I'm just gonna scrape and drop as much of the stuff down onto the ground so it's not dropping on me in just a second. That looks like most of it anyways. Well, guys, she's all squeaky clean, squeak. So I got everything nice and clean. I even power washed the hood. It's been a bane of my existence to touch the hood and get oil all over my hat. My brand new hats. This one says "Stay Filthy" by D-Boss Garage. Check him out. He's a cool guy. In no way is this a sponsorship. So, it's all nice, squeaky clean. I guess next thing to do is just let it dry, and we'll come in here, zip these injector lines off, take the coolant lines off, turbo, exhaust, and we'll take the cylinder head straight off. And then we'll pull this timing cover and get everything taken apart. But we're gonna do that on the next episode. So stick around, guys, for the next one. It'll be coming here soon. If you like this episode, if you had fun watching me pressure wash things and try not to get covered in absolute grime, give me a thumbs up. You can subscribe if you want. We'll catch you on the next one, and y'all have a wonderful day.